Hello, my beautiful friends. It is MissFushi, and welcome to a very interesting little poem. This one was actually written by J.R.R. Tolkien, the well-known writer of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. I found this while scouring Reddit, and it was just so beautiful and so, I guess, wordy would be the best way to describe it, that I wanted to try and read it as sort of a challenge to myself. So, I'm gonna go ahead and do just that. And it might be a little hard to follow, but the basic concept is it is sort of a fairy tale-esque story. And it's quite beautiful. I'll leave a link in the description if you'd like to follow along, to make it a little easier to visualize the story. But yes, I will go ahead and begin. In Britain's land, beyond the seas, the wind blows ever through the trees. In Britain's land, beyond the waves, are stony shores and stony caves. There stands a ruined toft now green, where lords and ladies once were seen, where towers were piled above the trees and watchmen scanned the sailing seas. Of old a lord in arched hall, while standing stones yet grey and tall, there dwelt till dark his doom befell, as still the Britain harpers tell. No child he had his house to cheer, to fill his courts with laughter clear. The wife he wooed and wed with ring, who love to board and bed did bring. His pride was empty, vain his hoard, without an heir to land and sword. Thus pondering oft at night awake, his darkened mind would visions make of lonely age and death, his tomb, uncaptable strangers in his room with other names and other shields, were masters of his halls and fields. Thus counsel cold he took at last, his hope from light to darkness passed. A witch there was, who webs could weave to snare the heart and wits to reave, who span dark spells with spider craft. And as she span, she softly laughed. A drink she brewed of strength and dread, to bind the quick and stir the dead. In a cave she housed, where winging bats their harbor sought, and owls and cats from hunting came from mournful cries, night stalking near with needle eyes. And the homeless hills was her hollow dale, black with its bowl, its brink was pale. There silent on a seat of stone, before her cave she sat alone. Dark was her door, and few there came, whether man or beast that man doth tame. In Britain's land beyond the waves are stony hills and stony graves. The wind blows ever over hills and hollow caves with wailing frills. The sun was fallen low and red. Behind the hills the day was dead, and in the valley formless lay the misty shadows long and grey. Alone between the dark and light there rode into the mouth of night. The Briton lord in creeping fear about him closed, dismounting near. He slowly then with lagging feet went halting to the stony seat. His words came faltering on the wind, while silent sat the crone and grinned. Few words he needed, for her eyes were dark and piercing, filled with lies. Yet needle keen, all lies to probe, he shuddered in his sable robe. His name she knew, his need, his thought, the hunger that hither him had brought. While yet he spoke, she laughed aloud, and rose and nodded, head she bowed, and stooped into her darkening cave, like ghost returning to the grave. Then swift she came, and his hand she laid a vial of glass so fairly made, 'twas wonder in that houseless place to see its cold and gleaming grace, and there within a philtre lay, as pale as water, thin and grey, that spills from stony fountains for, and hollow pools and caverns hoar. He thanked her, trembling, offering gold to withered fingers shrunk and old. The thanks she took not, nor the fee, but laughingly croaked, "Nay, we shall see. Let thanks abide till thanks be earned. Such potions oft, men say, have burned the heart and brain, or else are not only cold water dearly bought. Such lies you shall not tell of me, till it is earned I'll have no fee. But we shall meet again one day, and rich reward then you shall pay. Whatever I ask, it may be gold, it may be other wealth you hold. In Britain ways are strong and long, and woods are dark with danger strong, and sound of seas is in the leaves, and wonder walks the forest eaves. The way was long and woods were dark, at last the Lord beheld the spark of living light from window high, and knew his halls and towers were nigh. At last he slept in weary sleep beside his wife, and dreaming deep he walked with children yet unborn, and gardens fair until the morn came slowly through the windows tall, and shadows moved across the wall. Then sprang the day with weather fair, for windy rain had washed the air, and blue and cloudless, clean and high, above the hills was arched the sky, and foaming in the northern breeze, beneath the sky there shone the seas. Rising then to greet the sun, and day with a new thought begun, that Lord in guise of joy him clad, and masked his mind, his manner glad, his mouth unwonted laughter used, in words of mirth he oft had mused. Walking alone with furrowed brow, a feast he bade prepare him now. "An Aotrou mine," he said, "my life, 'tis long that thou hast been my wife. Too swiftly by in love do slip our gentle years, and as a ship returns to port, we soon shall find once more that day of spring we mind, when we were wed and bells were rung, but still we love and still are young. A merry feast we'll make this year, and there shall come no sigh nor tear, and we will fain our love begun, enjoy anew to run down happy paths, and yet, maybe, we'll pray this year we may see our heart's desire more quick draw nigh than yet we have it, thou and I, for virtue is in hope and prayer." So spake he gravely, seeming fair. In Britain's land across the seas, the spring is merry in the trees. The birds in Britain's woodlands pair, when leaves are long and flowers are fair. A merry feast that year they made, when blossom white on bush was laid. Their minstrels sang and wine was poured, as if it were the marriage of a lord. A cup of silver wrought he glazed, and smiling on the lady gazed. "I drink to thee for health and bliss, fair love," he said, "and with this kiss the pledge I pass. Come drink it deep, the wine is sweet, the cup is steep." The wine was red, the cup was grey, but blended there a potion lay, as pale as water, thin and fro, in hollow pools of caverns hoar. She drank it, laughing with her eyes. "O true Lord and love," she cries, "all hail, and life both long and sweet, wherein desire at last to meet." Now days ran on in great delight, with hope at morn and mirth at night, and in the garden of his dream the Lord would walk, and there would deem he saw two children, boy and maid, that fair as flowers danced and played on lawns of sunlight without hedge, save a dark shadow at their edge. Though spring and summer wear and fade, though flowers fall and leaves are laid, and winter winds his trumpet loud, and snows both fell and forest shroud, the roaring seas upon the shore go long and white, and 'neath the door the wind cries with houseless voice, and fire and song yet men rejoice, till as a ship returns to port, and spring comes back to field and court, a song now falls from windows high, like silver dripping from the sky, soft in the early eve of spring. Why do they play? Why do they sing? Light may she lie, Our Lady fair. Too long hath been her cradle bare. Yestreve there came as I passed by the cry of babes from windows high. Twin children I am told there be, light may they lie and sleep all three. Would every prayer were answered twice, the half or naught must oft suffice for humbler men who wear their knees more bare than lords, as oft one sees. Not every lord, when such fair grace, come wish them speed with kinder face. Light may she lie, my lady fair, long live her lord, her joy to share. A man-child and his infant maid, as fair as flowers in bed were laid, her joy was come, her pain was past, and mirth and ease Aotrou at last. In her fair chamber softly lay, singing to her babes lay. Glad was her lord as grave he stood beside her bed of carven wood. Now full, he said, is granted me both hope and power, and what of thee? It's not, fair love, most passing sweet, the heart's desire at last to meet. Yet if thy heart still longing hold, or lightest wish remain untold, that will I find and bring to thee, though I should ride both land and sea. Aotrou mine, she said, 'tis sweet, at last the heart's desire to meet. Thus after waiting, after prayer, thus after hope and nigh despair, I would not have thee run nor ride, today nor ever from my side. Yet after sickness, after pain, oft cometh hunger sharp again. Nay, love, if thirst or hunger strange, for bird or beast on earth that range, for wine or water from what well, in any secret fountain or dell, vex thee, he smiled, now swift declare, if more than gold or jewelry rare, from greenwood, haply fallow deer, or fowl that swims the shallow mere, thou cravest, I will bring to thee. Though I should hunt over land or sea, no gold nor silk nor jewel bright can match my gladness and delight. The boy and maiden lily fair, that here do lie, and thou didst bear. Aotrou, lord, she said, 'tis true, a longing strong and sharp I knew, in dream for water cool and clear, and venison of the greenwood deer. For waters crystal clear and cold and dear no earthly forests hold, and still in waking comes unsought the foolish wish to vex my thought. But I would not have thee run nor ride, today nor ever from my side. In Brittany, beyond the seas, the wind blows ever through the trees. In Brittany, the forest pale marches slow over hill and dale. There seldom fall the horns were wound, and seldom hunted horse and hound. The lord his lance of ashwood caught, the wine was to his stirrup brought. With bow and horn he rode alone, and iron smote the fire from stone. As his horses bore him over the land, to the green burrows of Brusseland, to the green dales where listening deer seldom a mortal hunter hear. They're startling now, they stare and stand, as his horn winds in Brusseland. Beneath the woodland's hanging eaves, a white toast startled under leaves. Strangely she glistened in the sun, As she leapt forth and turned to run, then reckless after her he spurred. Dim laughter in the woods he heard, but heeded not a longing strange for deer that fair and fearless range vexed him for venison of the beast, whereon no mortal hunt shall feast, for waters crystal clear and cold that never in holy fountain rolled. He hunted her from the forest eaves into the twilight under leaves. The earth was shaken under hoof, till the boughs were bent into a roof, and the sun was woven in a snare, and laughter still was on the air. The sun was falling in the dell, deep in the forest silence fell. No sight nor slot of doe he found, but roots of trees upon the ground, and trees like shadows waiting stood for night to come upon the wood. The sun was lost, all green was grey, there twinkled the fountain of the Fae, before a cave on silver sand, under the dark boughs in Brusseland. Soft was the grass and clear the pool, he laved his face in water cool. He saw her then on silver chair, before her cavern, pale her hair, slow was her smile, and white her hand, beckoning in Brusseland. The moonlight falling clear and cold, her long hair lit through comb of gold. She drew each lock, and down it fell, like the fountain falling in the dell. He heard her voice, and it was cold, an echo from the world of old, ere fire was found or iron hewn, when young was mountain under moon. He heard her voice like water falling, or wind upon a longshore calling. Yet the sweet words, "We meet again, hereafter waiting, after pain. How true, lo, thou hast returned, perchance some kindness I have earned. What hast thou, Lord, to give to me, whom thou hast come thus far to see? I know thee not, I know thee not, nor ever saw thy darkling grot. O Corrigan, 'twas not for thee I hither came a hunting free. How darest then, my water wan, to trouble thus, or look me on? For this of least I claim my fee. If ever thou wast wander free, with love thou shalt me here unite, for here to long and sweet the night, and drury dear thou here shalt deal, in bliss more deep than mortals feel. I gave no love, my love is wed, my wife now lieth in childbed, and I curse the beast that cheated me, and drew me to this dell to thee. Her smile ceased, and slow she said, Forget thy wife, for thou shalt wed anew to me, or stand a stone, and wither lifeless and alone. A stone beside the fountain stand, forgotten and Brusseland. I will not stand here turned to stone, but I will leave thee cold alone, and I will ride to mine own home, and the waters blessed of Christendom. But 3 days then, and thou shalt die, and 3 days on thy bier lie. In 3 days I shall live at ease, and die but when it God doth please, an elder in some time to come, in the brave wars of Christendom. In Britain's land beyond the waves are forests dim and secret caves. In Britain's land the breezes bear the sound of bells along the air, to mingle with the sound of seas forever moving in the trees. The wandering way was long and wild, and hastening home to wife and child, at last the hunter heard the knell at morning of the sacring bell. Escaped from thicket and from fen, at last he saw the tilth of men. The hoar and houseless hills he passed, and weary at his gates him cast. Good steward, if thou love me well, bid make my bed, my heart doth swell, my limbs are numb with heavy sleep, and drowsy poisons in them creep. All night, as in a fevered maze, I have ridden dark and wandering ways. To bed they brought him, and to sleep in sunless thickets tangled deep. He dreamed and wandering found no more the garden green, but on the shore the seas were moaning in the wind. A race before him leered and grinned. Now it is earned, come bring to me my fee, a voice said, bring my fee. Beside a fountain falling cold, the Corrigan, now shrunk and old, was sitting singing. In her claw a comb of bony teeth he saw, with which she raked her tresses gray, but in her other hand there lay a phial of glass with water filled, that from the bitter fountain spilled. At eve he waked and murmured, ringing of bells within my ears, and singing, a singing is beneath the moon. Grieve not, my wife, grieve not, Aotrou. My death is near, but do not tell, though I am wounded with a spell. But 2 days more, and then I die, and I would have had her sweetly lie, and sweet arise, and live yet long, and see our children hale and strong. His words they little understood, but cursed the fevers of the wood, and to their lady no word spoke. Ere second morn was old she woke, and to her woman standing near gave greeting with a merry cheer. Good people, lo, the morn is bright. Say, did my lord return ere night, and tarries now with hunting worn? Nay, lady, he came not with the morn, but ere men candles set on board. Thou wilt have tidings of thy lord, or hear his feet to thee returning, ere candles in the eve are burning. Ere the second morn was wide she woke, and eager greeted them and spoke. Behold, the morn is cold and grey, and why is my lord so long away? I do not hear his feet returning, neither at evening nor at morning. We do not know, we cannot say, they answered, and they turned away. Her gentle babes in swaddling white now 7 days had seen the light, and she arose and left her bed, and called her maidens, and she said, my lord must soon return. Come bring my fairest raiment, stone on ring, and pearl on thread, for him 'twill please to see his wife abroad at ease. She looked from window tall and high, and felt a breeze go coldly by. She saw it pass from tree to tree, the clouds were laid from hill to sea. She heard no horn and heard no hoof, but rain came pattering on the roof, and Brittany she heard the waves on sounding shore and hollow caves. The day wore on till it was old, she heard the bells that slowly tolled. Good folk, why do they mourning make? In tower I hear the slow bells shake. In Derrishay the peasants sing, whom to the churchyard do they bring? A man unhappy here there came. A while agone his horse was lame, sickness was on him, and he fell before our gates, or so they tell. Here he was harbored, but today he died, and passeth now the way. We must all go to the church to lie on bier before the altar high. She looked up to them, dark and deep, and saw them in the shadows weep. Then tall and fair and brave was he, or tale of sorrow there must be concerning him that still ye keep it for a stranger thus ye weep. What know ye more? Assay, assay. They answered not, and turned away. Ah me, she said, that I could sleep this night, or at least I could weep. But all night long she tossed and turned, and in her limbs a fever burned. And yet when sudden under sun a fairer morning was begun. Good folk, to church I wend, she said. My raiment chose a robe of red, or robe of blue, or white and fair, silver and gold, I do not care. Nay, lady, said they, none of these. The custom used as now one sees, for women that to churching go, is robe of black and walking slow. And robe of black and walking bent, The lady to her churching went, and hand a candle small and white, her face so pale, her hair so bright. They passed beneath the western door, there dark within, on stony floor, a bier was covered with a pall, and by it yellow candles tall. The watchful tapers still and bright upon his blazon cast their light, the arms and banner of her lord. Her pride was ended, vain his hoard. To bed they brought her, swift to deep, forever cold though there might weep. Her woman by her dark bedside, or babes in cradle waked and cried. There was a singing slow at death of night, and many feet ere at taper light. At morn there rang the sacring knell, and far men heard a single bell, till while the sun lay on the land, while deep and dim brose the land, a silver fountain flowed and fell within a darkly woven dell, and in the homeless hills a dale was filled with laughter cold and pale. Beside her lord at last she lay, in their long home beneath the clay. And if their children lived yet long, or played in garden hale and strong, they saw it not, nor found it sweet, their heart's desire at last to meet. In Brittany, beyond the waves, are sounding shores and hollow caves. In Brittany, beyond the seas, the wind blows ever through the trees. Of lord and lady all is said, God rest their souls who now are dead. Sad is the note and sad the lay, but mirth we meet not every day. God keep us all in hope and prayer, from evil rede and from despair, by waters blessed of Christendom, to dwell until at last we come to joy of heaven, where is Queen, the Maiden Mary, pure and clean. I hope you guys enjoyed this little poem. I hope I pronounced words as correctly as I could. If you did enjoy this, please do me a favor and leave a big, beautiful thumbs up down below. Leave a comment about the story if you do so, please. And if you enjoyed this, please do let me know. And subscribe for more. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.